I'm not supposed to have favorites, but I do. We'll call him John, even though his actual name and his actual personality are far more unique than any John would suggest. But I feel firmly about protecting his identity, so John it is. And it's not even as though he's the most studious 10th grader that I teach, or even that he's the most helpful. We actually aren't even particularly close. I just find John fascinating because there is always a party going on in his head. Whether he's on the crowded B63 bus or walking down Kingston to school, even in those bitter winters where the wind blows so hard that it bounces off the row houses and stings your face, or even in the fresh-smelling, dog-barking, radio-blasting spring of Crown Heights, there is always, always a party. In class, when he should be writing responses to questions, I'm looking at him, and I see him actually just reciting the lyrics to his favorite songs. And when he's late to class and he should be walking with urgency, he's just bopping along with Nicki Minaj up here, who he proclaims is his wife. At any time, in any place, the latest song is playing in his head. So needless to say, I was excited to have him in my co-taught literature and writing classes this year. Yes, for his dynamic personality and his uncanny ability to be so easily amused by his own thoughts, but also because I had actually grown curious about what kind of adult he would be. You know, who would he be when he was more sure of himself, when he wasn't uncomfortably 16 years old? That's the great thing about teaching in high school, is I often think about what kind of people, citizens, or contributors to society my high school babies will grow to be. I knew him fairly well, because he was in my reading intervention group last year because of his IEP. And I did enjoy seeing him on a daily basis. But I was really looking forward to having him in a full class with 25 other uncomfortable teens. The incident happened during fourth period literature block. We were reading How the Garcia Girls Lost Their Accents, which is a novel about Dominican Americans, immigration, identity assimilation. Unfortunately, it was also a book that everyone hated, including the lead teacher. I was the only person that actually enjoyed reading this book. And during this period, which falls right before lunch, and to all the high school and middle school teachers in here, know that that's a period that's prime for rambunctiousness or falling asleep. We were reading a passage about the relationships between the main character and her husband. And this would spawn into a conversation about the male and female characters in the book, and also about the relationships that our students experience every day. The lead teacher is this big, hairy, goofy guy, is positioned in the front of the classroom, and I'm on the side supporting a scholar. You see, the lead teacher boomed after a scholar had painstakingly read through a very difficult passage. This guy's just trying to flirt with his wife. Everyone knows what it's like to flirt. I was crouched down, and I began to see the class perk up, and I began to hear giggles coming from the desks around me, most likely from the students reminiscing about their latest flirting disaster, and I don't want to think about their flirting successes. Rondell knows what it's like to flirt, the teacher continues. Even Romaine knows what it's like to flirt. And John, even he knows what it's like to flirt with girls. Everyone started laughing. It was the same laughter that I was beginning to hear before. Then a student stood up out of her seat, tiny little thing, with her hands on her hips and said, "No, he doesn't," and then sat back down. Everyone in the classroom started to laugh. And it wasn't just a normal laugh. It was a hearty, boisterous, getting out of your seats, tears coming out of your eyes, dramatic high school laugh. And I knew that it wasn't because of the obnoxious call out. Unfortunately, that happens fairly often in that class. And to be honest, they're probably used to those distractions, especially at that point of the year. Everyone was laughing, their hearty laugh, because every single student in that classroom thought that John was gay. He went from bouncing, moving, singing whatever song was in his head, to being silent and still. He went from sitting up confidently to slouch down over his desk. And his smile that revealed these fake gold teeth slid away. It was the look of a student who was broken. The lead teacher moved on. The laughter started to go away and continued on the conversation about the book. I didn't say anything. I did nothing, as though I didn't just hear my students laugh at another. Weeks went by, months went by. It slipped in and out of my mind a few times. I even actually forgot. I try to teach my students to love being Black kids. I want them to find pride in who they are in a world that often forgets them. I want them to find beauty in everything from the color of their skin, to the texture of their hair, to the history of their people. But seeing the look on John's face that day made me realize the part that I often miss, and honestly, sometimes choose to ignore. I haven't taught my kids well. I haven't taught them that there is beauty in all of us, whether you are male, female, gay, straight, bi, tall, short, awkward, popular, tiny and skinny, or big and round, whether you're from the West Indies, from Trinidad, Jamaica, from Haiti, from Nigeria, from America, whether you're from Crown Heights or East New York or Flatbush or Bed-Stuy. I haven't taught my kids that there is diversity among us and that that is also beautiful.